Berserk is an anime from 1997, an adaptation of a manga of the same name. Berserk is one anime you would have at least heard about within your first year of watching anime, alongside shows like Death Note and Yu Yu Hakusho. It is with great misfortune that this series was never given a second season. Except when it somewhat did in 2016, a new Berserk series continues to adapt the manga. Somehow in pre-production, the staff decided it would be a good idea to make this new series of Berserk stand out from its predecessor by making the entire show in CGI. That alone is not a bad idea, as there are shows like Land of the Lustrous and God Eater which are fully CGI anime that look stunning. Berserk, on the other hand, is visually deplorable. The sound design for this series is quite simply awful too. Before we get to the review, I do need to mention that this anime contains extremely dark subject matter that some viewers may find distressing. If Goblin Slayer was too much for you, I would advise you stay away from Berserk, as it is far more grim to say the least. Now, will the original Berserk being left unfinished affect my thoughts on the series? Produced by OLM and released in the autumn of 1997 and adapted from a manga of the same name by Miura Kentaro, Berserk is set in a Tolkien-inspired fictional depiction of medieval England. Berserk explores many philosophies such as meaning, place, friendship, good, evil, the lines between them, what it means to be a monster, and so many more. Griffith, leader of the Band of the Falcon, sees incredible potential in Guts. Guts is a lone mercenary who answers to no one. He has no end goal in sight. He only wishes to swing his sword, slaying all who come between him and his blade, hoping that he will find his purpose and place in the world. Griffith, however, lives for his ambition of becoming a king to rule over all. His goal drives him, and the Band of the Falcon members put all of their hopes in Griffith. Griffith crosses blades with Guts, and as Griffith is the victor, Guts becomes a member of the Band of the Falcon. He displays his recklessness in battle, to which Koska, the captain of the Band of the Falcon and second in command, takes issue with. The two squabble over Guts' brash battle tactics for years. Over the years, the band of mercenaries become recognised and are often used as an army for nobles, primarily because of Griffith's inspiring leadership. What Berserk does exceptionally well is gradually develop this world and its characters. Even the minor characters have their role to play, whether that be to push our main characters to take a leap forward or to help them realise their faults. These characters are extremely well written. Guts begins as an aimless loner, Koska as a stubborn subordinate, and Griffith was calm and passionate about his dream. These characters evaluate themselves and make choices or respond to events which change them as people. Sometimes they grow and sometimes they break down, and that is the beauty of this show. It understands how people work. Berserk also has a deep exploration of human emotion, how we connect, how we disconnect, why people lie, and how some can bring themselves to commit terrible acts. Guts can slay 100 men, and the show would not make him out to be a hero for such an act, as it is inhumane. This story has no hero. Arguably, the most heroic character is Koska, as she works with her band, fights to save lives and refuses to let them down, even when she's past her limit. All of these characters have truly vile childhoods, which play into their core beliefs and characteristics, and can even affect their judgment and interactions. Koska is worth mentioning for many reasons. She is a female warrior in an age when women were to be seen and not heard. There are times when this exceptionally Western concept is brought into play in this anime, and Casca proves time and time again that she is more than capable of fighting alongside and even leading the men into battle. Berserk chose to handle Casca perfectly. If not for her distinctly feminine voice, she could have been mistaken for a man, and when she wears a dress, you see her becoming more in tune with her feminine traits, and that she is beautiful. My only two issues with this series is the first and last episodes, and do not worry, nothing will be spoiled. The first episode should be skipped. The episode shows our main character, Guts, halfway through his journey with a lot of subtle story spoilers. Episode 2 is where you should begin Berserk. What I love about Berserk is that its heart does not lie in the violence, gore, knighthood, sex, and so forth. Its heart is in the characters, their journeys, relationships, and the quiet moments they endure in solidarity or share. These moments display how much the characters keep changing, how their relationships change, and what their thoughts are looking back and forward. Berserk demonstrates the 90s hand-drawn anime style perfectly. It is rough and gritty with a lot of deep shading. Background artwork is absolutely stunning, from snowy mountains to a castle in the desert. These backgrounds are exhibiting so much detail, and the designs of the structures remain consistent throughout the series, giving Berserk a recognisable architectural aesthetic. The character designs in Berserk are iconic and with good reason. Take our three main characters. Guts wears dark colours, wields a larger-than-life weapon, muscles that rival a gorilla's, a cut on his nose, and jet black hair. Casca has a muscular build, dark skin, soft eye shape, short hair, wears a yellow feather on a helmet, and wears a small red cape. Griffith has a feminine facial structure, pale tone, and long white hair. The physical embodiment of an honourable leader, his eyes glimmer with his dreams. He wears shiny armour, and the helmet is curved to resemble a griffin's beak. The fluidity of the animation in this show is a mixed bag. The first half of the series takes a lot of shortcuts with the animation, such as looping it, to give a sense of motion, especially during the action scenes. The show also cuts to highly detailed still images when a large amount of animation would be required, and other scenes when the animation is fluid and guzzling with exquisite detail and shading. The colour in Berserk is muted. This allows for the darker sequences to appear gritty, and the brighter scenes blend naturally. The lighting can vary from dull to being so bright it washes away some of the colour. The latter half of this series spikes in visual quality. The animation and artwork both increase exponentially. The character designs are very simply drawn in the early episodes, whereas halfway through their designs are fully realised. The backgrounds contain a consistent high quality, and there is far more movement, especially in the last 3 episodes. The opening song, Tell Me Why by Pen Pals, is a catchy song riddled in English. For those not in the know, English is what we refer to as poorly spoken or written English. Because of this English, I have found determining the exact meaning of the song quite difficult. However, it appears to be asking questions about who you are and what you want. The ending song, Waiting So Long by Silverfins, also suffers from the English problem, but is easier to determine the meaning. It is about not looking back and continuing to move forward. The soundtrack is epic. Orchestral music with a loud choir enhances the scale of the battle sequences, wraps you up in the tension, and demonstrates just how grand this series is. There are also quieter tracks in the score, used to boost the emotional pull of a scene. The purpose of this soundtrack is to not blend in with the scenes, but to add an extra layer of grandiose. This series has what I call the Star Wars effect. This is where the soundtrack is meant to be heard during the scenes in which it plays. The sound design for Berserk has not aged so well, unfortunately. The voice acting and music are clear, and the sound is great. The sound effects, however, show its age. I recommend you watch Berserk dubbed. Watching in English gives the show a more authentic feeling, despite the fact the lip flaps do not always match the words being spoken. In conclusion, Berserk is an epic that really must be viewed by all.